He wept at his daughter's grave every day. The black millionaire never knew she was alive. Exactly 800 words. In the heart of Atlanta's historic Oakland Cemetery stood a small granite headstone that read, Amara Elise Kingston, beloved daughter, February 14, 2017 to March 3, 2023. Forever dancing with angels. Every single morning for 2 years, rain or shine, a tall, impeccably dressed black man in a charcoal Tom Ford coat arrived at dawn. Elijah Kingston, 38, founder of the fastest growing fintech empire in the South, worth 9 figures before 35, knelt in the dew-soaked grass and wept like the world had ended. He pressed his forehead against the cold stone, tracing the carved letters of the name he had only learned after she was gone. I'm sorry, baby girl, he whispered every day. Daddy's so sorry. No one in his boardrooms, no one in the private jet, no one at the gala tables knew why the brilliant, unbreakable CEO disappeared every sunrise. They assumed grief for a lost parent, a sibling, anything but this. Elijah never corrected them. The truth was too cruel. He had never held her, never heard her laugh, never even knew she existed until the day a social worker called him with a trembling voice. Mr. Kingston, your daughter was killed in a car accident last week. The mother listed you on the birth certificate. She never told you. The mother was Jasmine Carter, the soft-spoken art student he had loved fiercely for one burning summer in 2016. When Elijah's startup exploded and investors dragged him to Singapore, Dubai, London, Jasmine's text-slowed replies turned into silence. He thought she had moved on. She never told him she was carrying his child. Pride, fear, the belief he was already too far gone into a world that would never welcome a broke painter and her baby. Whatever the reason, she raised Amara alone in a tiny apartment in College Park, working double shifts at a gallery, singing lullabies Elijah would never hear. Then one rainy afternoon, a drunk driver ran a red light. Jasmine died on impact. Amara, strapped in her car seat, lived 4 more days in PICU before her little heart gave out. By the time the hospital traced Elijah through DNA records, both were gone, and all that remained was a shoebox of photos and a grave he visited like a penitent. He bought the plot beside hers. Had the finest stone carved. Planted white lilies that bloomed year-round. Every birthday, every Christmas, every ordinary Tuesday, he came. Employees whispered he was losing his mind. Investors worried. His mother begged him to seek therapy. Elijah only smiled the saddest smile in Georgia and said, some debts you pay for the rest of your life. Then came the morning that broke the universe open. October 14, 2025. A soft fog curled between the oaks like gentle ghosts. Elijah knelt as always, palms flat on the stone, tears falling onto the engraved portrait of the little girl with her mother's eyes and his smile. He didn't hear the tiny footsteps on the wet grass. Daddy. The voice was small, hesitant, impossibly real. Elijah's heart stopped. Slowly, terrified of what hope might do to him, he turned. Behind the wide trunk of the ancient oak stood a little black girl in a red velvet dress, curls tied with white ribbons, clutching a stuffed giraffe. She was the exact image of the photograph on the stone, only alive, breathing, cheeks flushed from the chill. Amara. But Amara was dead. He had seen the death certificate. Held the urn. Yet there she stood, eyes wide, lower lip trembling. Elijah couldn't breathe. He crawled on his knees toward her, afraid she would vanish if he stood. Baby. He choked. The little girl took one step, then another, then ran. She threw herself into his arms with the force of every miracle ever denied him. Elijah caught her, sobbing so hard his chest nearly cracked open. She smelled like baby shampoo and crayons and everything good left in the world. I looked for you every day, she whispered against his neck. Mommy said you were coming, but you took too long. Through tears and terror and joy too sharp to survive, Elijah learned the truth in shattered pieces. Jasmine had been in witness protection after accidentally witnessing a cartel murder outside her gallery. The accident was staged. Doctors induced coma, faked dental records, switched DNA samples, an elaborate, illegal rescue orchestrated by a federal agent who owed Jasmine his life. Mother and daughter were supposed to disappear forever. But Jasmine never recovered from her injuries. She died 3 months ago in a safe house in Oregon. Before she slipped away, she told 5-year-old Amara her father's name and showed her the only photo she had kept, Elijah laughing on a rooftop in 2016. The agent, bound by a deathbed promise, brought Amara back to Atlanta. For weeks he watched Elijah grieve at the grave, deciding if the man deserved the child he never knew he had. That morning, he let her go to him. Elijah held her so tightly she squeaked, then giggled, the first time he ever heard his daughter laugh. He carried her to the gravestone, knelt again, and pressed her tiny hand against her mother's name. She brought you back to me, he told her, voice raw. Both of you did. Amara laid a single white lily on the grass and looked up at him with eyes older than 5 years. Can we go home now, Daddy? Elijah Kingston, the man who owned everything except what mattered most, finally had it all in his arms. He stood, his daughter against his heart, and walked out of the cemetery into the sunlight that suddenly felt brand new. And every morning after that, he still came at dawn, only now he carried a little girl in a red dress who danced between the graves, leaving flowers for the mother who loved them both enough to give them a second chance. Some debts, it turns out, the universe pays back with interest.